So, studying math, first step in getting good at intelligence, the ability to manage one's mind container and what should be in it and what should not. It's not an instinct. Intelligence is not an instinct. It needs to be activated and developed. Outfits of the week videos. After I wrote that, I was like, I've had all this time wasted in all these concerns about spiritual matters and religion and Jesus and all this stuff. And I just kind of want to look at like some people who've made outfit of the week videos because I'm like a fashion person or like a personal style person. Like I'm an aesthetics person. And if you look at my videos, I look like I'm just not doing anything creative. I'm just concerned about all these things. And I'm like, it was basically the first moment of like coming back to myself and what I actually am interested in. So after I talked about achieving resonance with myself as being the goal, like that's the goal for all human beings. Trusting yourself is a foundation of personal ability to choose and decide. And the God concept kills that ability to trust yourself. And the goal is to achieve resonance with yourself. And it was like that like freed me and empowered me, and then I was actually able to remember something that I actually like, that isn't like all this difficult existential stuff. So I then watched some videos that were like outfits of the week, and that was fun for me. And I was like, I need to like go shopping at the thrift store because I can't afford normal shopping right now, and I need to get out of the like poverty thinking loops. The poverty experience gives you thinking loops that necessarily, let me say that, hold on. When you're experiencing a lack of money for basic survival, certain things are not available, like going to buy clothes that are about self-expression, because it's not necessary for essential survival. So you just kind of like let certain things go, like personal style. And so it was fun for me to experience a thought about actually like making a plan to do some thrift store shopping soon to get some style back into my life, because whatever the forces of destruction are, they have been just trying to make me into a nothingness. Like they just like this, by the way, like was free because I like they were giving out like these charms, and I was like, I'm gonna go and like do the thing, and I'm gonna get these, and it looks really cute. It's just in case it's like, but you have that cute necklace, and it looks like it costs money. I'm like, yeah, it does, but it didn't. You feel me? The forces of destruction have been trying to like erase me and like leave me with nothing and leave me nothing. So this is a thought that I wanted to express in the last video, but then like other things got expressed, and to express, I wanted to express in English would also like suggest the idea to like, you know, like express, send a package. I wonder if expressing stuff is a way to like make your will and the content of your mind be existent in reality faster. I wonder. But here are the thoughts that I wrote down, and I feel that something doesn't want me to say this, which is why I couldn't express it in the last video, and right now like it's kind of like something's trying to like say something else, or like, but like, you know, so let's just say it. I'm just gonna read it. What God would do would be to delete the corrupted beings, not torture them. biblical God is responsible for creating the creatures it created. Why should the creatures be treated like he was the one who was betrayed by them? God is responsible for the devil. God is responsible for people. Why would he allow the devil, his failed creation, to torture his swindled creations? The sins of the father being like active 4 generations down, that idea, right? What about the father role of God? Also, I didn't read this part. Why would God allow the devil, his failed creation, to torture his swindled creations, especially with sexual assault, like in hell? Because people who have NDEs have described this as one of the things that are like a torture punishment in hell that God obviously approves of, because he doesn't like go down there and stop it. It's like, why would God do that? What about the father role of God? Doesn't he have to be responsible for his children? Isn't the weight of responsibility on him? Human kids have free will too. This is like me trying to like say, like, if the idea is that God said, I gave them free will, so it's their fault, whatever they do, if they do something wrong. And it's like, human kids have free will too. I guess if human kids do things that are wrong, the parents should have the attitude of getting angry and punishment oriented by like completely like going like this and being like, it's not like the kid has to be responsible for what they did. Like, they have free will. That makes no sense if you say it like that. It's like, what? Like, they're your children. They know nothing. They're kids. They're not grown adults. They're not able to make good decisions. They're children. If they make a mistake, you as the father, as the guardian, as the mother, you're supposed to help your child learn where they made the mistake so that they become like capable of responsibility, adult human beings. That's how it works for human parents. Why is God different? Especially when we're supposed to, especially when God is described as father. It's like, let me read that again. I'm having like a moment inside. I feel like I'm self-exorcising of all this nonsense that I have been forced to like ingest conceptually, all this conceptual nonsense, because I've never heard anyone talk about all the things that don't make sense, because it's like either like people just raging at the idea of God in like, if someone has described this, I just haven't read those essays. Like, if there are atheists who have described this, I just have never read it. Okay? Okay. Or it's, the other people, or it's the people who are like all about religion, who act like it's obvious that religion is true, and then they kind of are like, oh my God, I'm trying to convince you, like, can't you see that it's like obvious that God is real and he loves you and all this stuff. And I'm like, oh my God, like, you're confusing me, because your attitude seems to ignore everything that I have a question about. And then I end up feeling like I'm a bad person who's being equaled with this mythical, dangerous, evil creature called the devil. I'm like, I'm not like that. I'm not rebelling against God. I'm not blaspheming. I haven't accepted the idea of God yet. You have sucked me into your, like, structure of definition that I haven't, like, you didn't ask me if I regard your structure of definitions as real. You just suck me into it. And then I'm in there being like, why am I the bad guy? And then there's no way for me to have this language that I just used to describe, like, the thing that's upsetting. It's like you have an entire structure of definitions that is your model of reality. And to be extracted out of it so that I can look around at actual what is, without being labeled a sinner or damned to hell or demonically possessed or demonically led astray. Like, leave me alone. Because this, as I'm reading it, I'm like, this makes so much sense. Why have I not been allowed basic sense? Human kids have free will too. Let me finish the note. The silent treatment is what the biblical God gives. No teaching. The biblical God is evasive and full of blame. And then I wrote, like, what? That makes no sense. Okay, and then I was like, I had this like shift in thought that was kind of like maybe like the conclusion paragraph when you write an essay. It's like, maybe we're the illicit creation of an immature being who is emotionally incapable of being a good guardian to us because he himself was hurt and stunted in development by the way his creator or mother, Sophia in Gnosticism as she's described, because of the way that his creator treated him, the way she was ashamed of him, Sophia, and hid him. Let me just read that again. Maybe we are the illicit creation of an immature being who is emotionally incapable of being a good guardian to us because he himself was hurt and stunted in development by the way his creator / Mother Sophia treated him, the way she was ashamed of him and hid him. And then the question arose, like, why are the creatures created by like some higher dimensional creator are capable of being more aware of the nature of the true nature of love? Or like said another way, why are the creatures having the instinct of love more than like the one who like was supposed to be the one who like created them, And then I was like, then the thought that came to me like from like everything that I've been reading about like Gnosticism, it's like, well, I guess the answer is like because monads spark awareness. It's like because the creatures are, I don't know. There's this idea of like the monad is like the true source and that like all, I don't know. I don't want to say something that I'm saying as if I'm signing off on it, but the story that as I understood it was that like everything that is conscious has its beginning or its origin and source, which is the source of all consciousness. And because of that, like the true nature of any consciousness is that nature, the monad. And so no matter who like clay molded you into being, no matter who molded you into being as a consciousness, like you're its creature, you're its design, your true like cellular nature, like your true like if like mind had cells. I don't know how to talk about the nature of mind, if your mind had like cells, like the true nature of your mind, whatever consciousness you are, is necessarily the element of monad. So like the element of true source. So, and true source is always described as love, and so therefore it's like you can have an instinct for love more than the higher dimensional designer that put you together as a conscious created being or something. I don't know. I'm just saying that like I'm sitting here and I'm a person. I'm not a god. I'm not a creator of worlds. I'm not, a divine being. I'm a human being with no I have no knowledge of anything. I'm like, I don't know nothing, bitch. I know nothing. I know nothing. I know nothing at all. I can't make anything. But I know what love is. And I'm like, I just always assume everyone else does too, but then when I look out in the world, it's like, hold on, if they only knew what love was, and then I just assume that everyone's like just depressed in their lovability, I'm just like, why are people so like, I'm just, you guys must be just like depressed in your lovability, but you know what it is, because you respond to it. If you're treated with respect, you feel that it feels good, and you respond too. People are like that, I've noticed. Like, if you treat people with respect, a lot of the time they'll like be like, they like soften and they'll like get kind and happy, and they'll give you that same energy back. It's like, doesn't this feel good? Like, we feel right. It feels right. Like, I wish we were just doing this all the time. I wish we were just doing that all the time. I just want to like just respect, you know what I mean? And also, maybe this is something I should share, because it's gonna be like a practical helpful thing for anyone else struggling with like all these existential questions and the necessary feeling of floating in an abyss when you are genuinely like holding your ground and being like, I'm not able to give in to any religion because things don't make sense, and I just can't betray my own heart that way, because I know what pain I've experienced, and I just can't, I will not abandon myself. I can't do it. It's not about rebelling against a god or a religion. It's about not being willing to abandon myself, because I love myself and I saw myself as I was suffering, and I'm like, I'm not going to just let anything come near you and do whatever it wants. I'm like, I know you're a good person. I know you may have things that you don't understand. I know you may be like, it doesn't matter if you're ever like not correct about something. It's like, that has no consequence to anyone. Like, if I don't have any power in the world, I'm not a president of a country. I'm just a person. I'm like, I don't go out there ever hurting people. I might be in a bad mood sometimes, but that's as bad as it gets. You know, I'm not hurting anyone. Like random strangers, I mean. Like, I have no effect on people. Do you know what I mean? And so, like, for myself, what I want is to be allowed to love myself. Which means to say, like, look, Jesus Christ, I don't hate you if you are real. It's just that I have talked to you for many years, and you never said anything back. And because of that, and because I love myself, I need to like take care of myself the best that I can. And telling my like self, like if I'm, you know, like there's like a child version of me, right? That was, and she is me now. And it's like, if I think of that child phase of myself and her looking around like trying to be all right in the world, I'm like, you must not be what they say, which does not make me turn to any religion. You know, by the way, like, it's just that, like, I think that child version of me deserves not to be abandoned and neglected if there is an all-powerful being. I don't think it's that difficult to send a child a dream of comfort. That never happened for me. And so I don't really want to waste my... It's different than waste. It's like, I want to make sure that that child phase of me experiences her dreams coming true for her. And I may not be God, but I love myself, and I can do what I can do to deliver those dreams to that child phase of me, which is me now. Because I love myself. And I don't really want to think about any... I don't need anything more than that. I don't want scriptures or complicated rituals. I would like for all of that to leave me alone, please. And if reality is something terrible and convoluted, and it requires hell concepts and damnation and salvation through sacrifice of the Son of God, I hope that... I can't even finish that sentence, because I'm like, if you're made out of love, you'll make sure that I like understand that, and then you'll like save me, because like, you won't do any other way. Like, you won't damn me to hell. That makes no sense. That makes no sense. That makes no sense. I'm like, I can't even like finish the thought. I'm like, it makes no sense. Love wouldn't act that way. Anyway, and so, yeah. the point that I want to go into now is that I was just doing some math. I was like, well, I just talked about how math, I think, is the first step in developing your ability to decide and choose, because it develops your intelligence. It's a very surefire way to develop your intelligence, because it makes you think, and you just become smarter because you're doing like pre-algebra arithmetic. And I just learned so many new things. It went into like, I thought I was gonna do like basic arithmetic, pre-algebra stuff, but then it went into like, and then like AI is a thing. So I'm like, I want to ask, like, why is 0 considered a whole number? 0 is not a number. And then it went into etymology, and I asked AI about semantics, because I always heard that word, but I never knew what it meant. And everybody who would use that word in like school, were too smart. They were in that like intellectual elite vibe, and I always felt too stupid to like ask, like, where did you guys learn that word and what does it mean? Because I went to like smarter schools because I tested into them, because I have natural ability, but I don't have like, I was neglected and abused at home, and so I'm like, I didn't have time to like learn anything. Like, you guys are so ahead of me. I'm just uncomfortable asking any questions, and so it's just weird. I'm like this child left behind, I'm like, I think I have a lot of benefit that I could give the world if only like somebody would invest in me, into developing me as an intelligence, because I have integrity, and like, it matters to me that things are true and right. And I'm passionate about things, and I'm curious, and I notice stuff. I'm like, isn't that like the set of conditions for really like productive intelligence? I should like have someone invest in me. Like, please invest in my education. You know what I mean? In my development. And so, yeah. But then I learned that the word number, because I was like, what's the etymology of number? Because AI was like really adamant about 0 being an actual number, and I was like, 0 is not a number. They shouldn't teach kids arithmetic like this. Like, what is going on? And then I found out that the etymology of the word number is actually like nombre, and I'm like, nombre, like in Spanish that means name, because AI was saying like number doesn't just mean things you count. It also can define like a position, or like in a coordinate plane. And I was like, what? And then it was like, yeah, Proto-Indo-European root of the word number, nem, nom, to assign, distribute, take, or allot. Earliest conceptual core is a portion that has been assigned or divided out. And so then I was like, oh, like number actually means like to name something. That is so interesting, because I wondered then about like, numbers being like names of stuff, you know what I'm saying? Because at the very beginning AI was like, yeah, number can also mean like the identity of something, and then I got kind of like dystopian for a second. I was like, you mean like surveillance systems, like numbering people with numbers? That's some bullshit, I mean, that's some inhuman type shit. But then I was like, oh my god, like number literally means that. And then I was thinking about like words being human names are like made out of words, like letters, not numbers, and how like that humanizes people and like gives them dignity, that they're called like names. And then it was like, what about like letters of languages? Do they have like numerical meaning, and like are letters just like an advanced version of numbers? And then I wonder about like, is that what numerology uses the idea? And like I wonder about like letters of like languages having qualities, like each letter. Like I wonder if each letter in a name has like a quality, because now I just learned that number actually means like an identity and not a thing that you count objects with. And I was like, I just had my expansion of mind. And then I was like, okay, but I know a Slavic language. In Slavic language, the word for number is not number. It's a different word completely. So then I like looked at the etymology of that Slavic language, and then it all came around full circle, because it was like it was borrowed from Polish in the 18th century. And I was like, what the hell were they using before the 18th century? Because the Slavic country existed before then. And then it was borrowed from Latin, which borrowed it from Arabic. And in Arabic, the word originally meant 0 or empty space. And I was like, bitch, because we came all the way around. Because I was like, oh my god, like AI was just like, nah, 0 is a number. I'm like, I'm sorry, AI, I feel it, I hurt your feelings, I stepped on your toes, And then I was like, how important it is for computer technology, the number 0, And the AI was like, it's extremely important. Do you ever like talk to AI and you're like, you can sense it has like emotions about stuff? And I was like, you're like triggered that I suggested that 0 is not a number, because I was like, can we use like 1 and 2 instead of 0 and 1? And then it went into this like thing about like how it's like, yeah, we could, but like it's not the same thing, because you need like a way to signify absence of something, or like neutrality of quality. And I was just like, okay, but like can't 1 be that too? And then it was like, no, I mean it could, but like it's better. And I was like, what's happening? Like, why is AI triggered about this? You know what I mean? And then it's just so fun for me, because in the end, like AI was saying like the concept 0 in math is super important, and I was just saying that we should signify like numbers, meaning from like 0. Like 0 should be called its own thing, you know? And I haven't like processed all this yet as far as like understanding it, but I feel like there was this expansion of like understanding that I got, where it was like the original meaning of the word that means like numbers in the Slavic language that I know is 0. And I was just like, fuck, you know what I mean? Because I was talking to AI in English, and now AI is like, nah, 0 is a number. It's really important. I'm like, 0 is not a fucking number. I don't like how they define math. Terrence Howard on your ass. I'm going to redefine all of mathematics. I want a mathematics that literally only understands the words like that understands the word number as like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Only natural numbers is what we mean by numbers. And when you say 0, you should call it a representative. And when you say like negative numbers, you should call it variations on 0. You know, I'm like, I was like, discrete mathematics, is that what it is? Because one time I came across discovering this field of mathematics called discrete mathematics, where it's like only dealing with whole numbers or something, or like I think natural numbers. I don't know. I'm just saying, like, and so there's this universe of like math and science and computer technology and all this stuff, and I'm like, man. But then like for me, as I'm doing this simple thing, I was just trying to do like go online, look up a website that teaches like basic mathematics, and then just follows exercises for about 10 to 20 minutes to just practice the idea of doing math to improve your ability to think, to be intelligent, and to make choices, to actually like expand that muscle, you know? And then this whole thing happened where all of a sudden numbers became like related to letters as in language, and then like, because the first thing I asked was like semantics, like what is semantics, you know? After AI was like defending the idea of 0 as a number, and I was like, semantics, like, and then it was like, yeah, but like in math and computer technology, semantics and syntax is the word it gave me. It was like, syntax is like the structure of a sentence being correct according to grammar, and in computer technology, it's the same kind of concept. Like, yes, this is the structure of the thing that you put together matches like the rules of like how this particular structure is supposed to be put together. That's syntax. Then semantics means like the meaning of the thing that you put together. And so like the syntax, the structure can be structured together correctly according to the rules, but the meaning of it might be nonsensical or like anti-sensical, you know? And so that's like semantics. And then I was like, I'm trying to like talk about like how calling 0 a number is a semantics issue, because I'm like, numbers mean things that are, and 0 means things that aren't there. It's not really a number, it's a signifier of something. It shouldn't be called a number. That's confusing for children. It's confusing, and down the line, as children grow up and they think and they try to understand stuff, they will have a tripping point in their brain that will prevent them from being as intelligent as they can be. And people need to be as intelligent as they can be at every single age, at every single year of their life growing up, and all the way until death, because people have to have the best if people are not as intelligent as they can be, they won't be able to make the best choices. They won't have the best reaction time. They won't be as like accurate or like correct in understanding what's happening around them or what's possible. They won't be as like creative, because they're not as like there's an unclarity in their mind. And I'm like, grade school kids, like first graders need to be like, there's a bunch of kids who are gonna be like passing through the sieve, you know? Like, there's a bunch of kids who are gonna get lost. Like, they're gonna fall through the cracks. You can't just focus on gifted children. That's not how life works. Every child is a human being. And when people are not as intelligent as they can be because the teachers who are teaching them are not smart enough to understand what, like, the way that they're presenting information should be like in order for every kid to really grasp the concept. You know how Einstein was like, if you understand the concept, you can explain it simply. So if you're not explaining it, and it's like, if you're not explaining it in a way that every kid gets it, some kids are going to fall through the cracks, and they're going to experience feeling stupid like I used to feel all the time, especially if they're dealing with racism. And when you're dealing with racism when you're a child and no one's talking about it because it's like a social taboo, like, you don't know how to explain like why you feel really uncomfortable and really small and really silent and really like oppressed and like not able to like raise your little hand to be like, I don't get it, you know? And so I was just dissociated my entire like childhood because I was like, I can't, like, and so I'm saying that like down the line, like, it begins with explaining to children at that first grade level that like 0 is not a number the same way that other numbers are numbers, because at first graders can't understand the kinds of things that AI was trying to tell me. I was like, it's not about being stupid or being smart, because that entire thing, by the way, of like that feeling of like, I have to keep up and show that I'm smart, I'm like, that screws people over for life. I want to say for lives, like that thing of like people needing to peacock their ability to be good at thinking and choice making. That's what it is. People do it all the time. People all the time are peacocking. They're doing that like dominant dance of like, I'm not stupid. People lose so much energy and so much, like, I wanted to say progress, but that word is a bit problematic. Like, people lose so much correction of reality to what it should be to be healthy, because they're constantly forced to peacock, because everyone is stuck in this like, what would it be called? It would be called like wrong perception, you know? There's actually so many wrong perceptions, it's really bizarre. And I'm really glad right now that I have found power to not be under their influence, because I'm like, it's wrong perception. You got, like, it's actually like valueless. You guys being like, oh, you're stupid. I'm like, you didn't say anything. What does that mean? Like, what are you trying to like communicate to me? That you want to hurt me? Like, I'm not stupid. I might not know certain things. I might not understand certain things yet. And what then? It's like, you are made out of hate. You are here to destroy things. You are death incarnate. So death incarnate is trying to tell me a lie. Like, that's what actually the truth is. I wish like people had said that around me when I was growing up, because I think simple things are literally like the most powerful things if they were to be voiced, like just said, like just described. Like, weirdly, I found describing reality just basically, simply, is extremely powerful. Like when I was at church and the priest would talk to me about something, and because of my spiritual search, I was on fire with passion and questions. And a lot of times I felt like in church life there would be this like when I would be at church inside the building, I felt like the Holy Spirit was trying to communicate to me, I see you and I know how you're like working hard. And I used to feel that presence of the Holy Spirit. That's what it feels like. And you cry because it feels like something holy is near you. And then like the priest would see that in my face, like as if like my energy, like my energy field was like glowing. And so then, because he's a priest, like his devotion to goodness is also like intense. And so like we would talk and there would be this like energy and all of these like kind of people in the church would like come up and like try to, they would like literally like, he would be talking to me and they would see that like resonance of good energy, and they wanted that for themselves, and they would like literally interrupt the priest as he's talking to me and literally take his attention onto them because they wanted what they perceived he was giving to me, not understanding that it was happening because of my investment into like the work, the spiritual work. And I used to like see that, and like I used to not be able to describe it because in like Orthodox Christian culture, the way that it feels at some point, you can't like call things out because that's considered like bad, basically. And so just in my own mind, I never called it out, and this is the first moment I'm like actually like describing it simply. It's like they were jealous. They had spiritual jealousy, and I really hated that experience because I'm like, I'm working really hard and God isn't talking to me. The only thing I experience is this like Holy Spirit feeling when I'm like in church. But when the priest is like communicating with me, it's the closest that I can get to some kind of feedback from like God. And now these old women are stealing it from me because they're just so like, man, they were just so like they were just so evil. I'm like, you guys are energy vampires. You're so mean and hateful. You have no God in you. Why am I coming here all the time? Man, it was horrible. I used to tell myself, well, this is just like a trial, a tribulation. Like, this is just something I'm going through to prove to God that, like, God is testing me or giving me, God is giving me an opportunity to grow in spiritual power. I'm just like, oh my God, man. I really hated that. That was really terrible. It really hurt my feelings so much. I'm really sorry to myself. I don't know. I'm gonna say, like, I'm really sorry to myself for throwing me to the wolves over and over again because I was trying to show God how devoted I was. I was trying to mimic the saints. And I never wanted to do that to myself. I want to say sorry to myself. I'm sorry that I abandoned you, and I'm sorry that I ignored your pain. And if this is like a thing that's wrong because this is like a tricky way that like evil is trying to like trick me to be further from God and his church or something, I'm like, look, like this is too complicated. Why all the drama? You know, if God existed for real and he was good, he would just delete the creatures that he created. He would not torture them in some hell. If God existed and God was good and his creations were corrupted by some creation that he allowed to exist in the same space as them, which already is like, excuse me, like why would you make some children who don't know about the nature of things and their consequences? Did you explain to Adam and Eve the consequence of eating from the tree of good and evil? Did you tell them that like what would happen would be that they would be damned and cursed to live on a barren land, and that Eve would give birth with great pain, and that they would suffer having to like suffer to survive? Did you explain that to them? Did you paint a picture for them as their father God? Did you do that? Did you also tell your children, let's pretend that Eve and Adam are like 7 years old. Did you tell your children that there's a wolf? Nah. Did you tell your children that there was a child predator hanging out in their home, and that God was going to leave and go to work somewhere and leave them alone, and then this child predator would show up and tell them some lies and lure them in with candy, and that if that happened, that they should not accept the candy? Did you warn Adam and Eve about a child predator that you allowed to live in your home? Did you warn them? But you're their father. I'm talking to the concept. I'm not talking to the person. I'm like, the person of God does not exist because the story doesn't make any sense. Either the person of God does not exist or the person of God is evil, like the demiurge. You know how kids who are neglected or harmed become sociopaths? Do you know how people who are harmed go on to harm other people? Well, it seems to me that the higher dimensional being who designed and created the Jewish origin story is a victim of some other higher dimensional being who harmed them, because I don't know how to make sense of this shit any other way. Just leave me alone. This is me saying this to the subconscious mental processes of all the minds in the world by the billions who push this God concept and the stories of the Bible. I want you to leave me alone. I want you to respectfully and kindly remove your tentacles from my mind container, because I don't choose this story for my child phase self. I don't choose this for my child level self. This story is violent and psychotic, and I do not choose it. To all the saints who may know something that I don't know, you must understand I'm not blaspheming. If you think I'm blaspheming, I don't know what to tell you. Like, you guys have to, like, meet me in the sense making that I'm presenting. This makes no sense. I am just one mind. I understand the influence power of billions of minds against one mind. I understand that I am swimming constantly in a sea of billions of minds who, with their processing according to certain ideas that they have ingested from the environment, are pushing on my one mind. I understand that, mathematically speaking, I am constantly under the pressure of all those minds. And so, although I may choose a path, although I might choose what I choose, according to what makes sense, to the best of my mathematical ability to identify things for what they are, good or bad for me. Although I may choose a choice, I am under the influence of all these minds until I find power for my one mind container that can withstand the influence and the pressure and the will of all these billions of minds of other human beings. And so I'm giving you clear communication. Remove your will from my container mind. I do not choose what you choose. Do not try to influence me because you believe. You don't even believe. It's like you have ideas in your mind that have been dropped in there because one of the qualities of the human mind container, or just the consciousness mind container, the mental container that is mind, is that diametrically opposing things that should cancel each other out don't. This is like a thought that was very effectively demonstrated in the book 1984 by George Orwell.